Hello, seventh grade students, parents, and guardians. My name is Mr. Roth, and this is the Meet the Teacher video for the school year 2020-2021. For those of you non-students out there, you can call me Steve, and you can reach me at sroth@scasd.us. Email is definitely the best way to get a hold of me. Even if you'd rather talk on the phone, which I'm fine with as well, shoot me an email there first. And then we can set up a time to speak on the phone or in person. What I want to do in this video is go through kind of my typical Meet the Teacher night things that I would do in my classroom, and then I have a few things that encompass all of seventh grade called our seventh grade basics across the board. I am the team leader for seventh grade, so I'm going to cover those things with you, and then when we come to school next week, some different teachers will kind of touch upon some of the topics in that document that we'll go over in a few minutes. But for science class particularly, I want to start out with answering this question: what is science? My favorite definition is kind of compiled from a few different definitions and edited a little bit here and there, is right here on this screen. Science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding following a systematic methodology based on evidence and data. I know there's a lot there, and next week, the first week of class, we're going to break this definition down, focusing on these words that are in bold, talking more about them and trying to make sense of kind of what this whole science thing is as a whole. I don't view science as a topic. I don't view science as a subject. I view it as a process, kind of as this definition says. It's more than just something you can read out of a book. It's more than just an experiment. It's a whole way of life, essentially. Some topics of study that we'll cover this year in seventh grade. At the beginning of the year, we will be going over the nature of science. So a lot of what I just talked about, what science is, some different branches of science, kind of the basics, the principles of science. The scientific method is something we'll be discussing at that time as well. Physical science we'll move into then after that. Some chemistry, some basic physics dealing with energy and particles in motion. And then we'll move into life science, biology, genetics, ecology, environmental science. Depending on how this year pans out, because as we all know, it's going to be quite the interesting year. We may or may not cover all of these topics that I typically do cover in a seventh grade science year. Some common resources and tools that I use here in our seventh grade science classroom: the science textbooks, which for this year I'm going to be converting to virtual formats. Sometimes it'll be a PDF where I'll actually take or scan an image from the textbook. Sometimes it'll be converted into some sort of Word document, or even our presentations or PowerPoint presentations that we go over in our courses. But we will not be physically handling the textbooks, turning the pages of them during this school year. Microsoft Office apps, all of them. I already mentioned Word and PowerPoint. We'll always be using Teams as well. Obviously, with live streaming our classes, that's going to be done through Teams. Teams is going to be our LMS, which stands for Learning Management System. So everything is going to begin and end with Teams. Edpuzzle, Kahoot, and YouTube. These are some online resources that I really like to utilize a lot in my class. Pennsylvania Game Commission and the Fish and Boat Commission. These two resources I use quite a bit for some different topics in our class, especially toward the end of the year when we get into ecology, and more specifically our Pennsylvania ecology. Hopefully by the end of the school year, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get down and utilize our nature trail, some of our awesome outside resources that we're so fortunate to have here at Southern. I'm also a hunter safety teacher with Mr. Williams and Mr. Farringer and Mr. Lindenmuth from the high school. So hopefully this spring we will be having our hunter safety course. You all were supposed to have it last year in 6th grade with us in the spring, in May, I believe, but obviously that got canceled when we left school in March. But we're going to be discussing that more throughout this school year, and hopefully we can make that available for those of you in 7th grade this year who have not yet had your hunter's safety or trapper education course completed. NASA, National Geographic, and Discovery Ed. These are 3 other resources that I like to use throughout this course. NASA will be more so toward the environmental science part of what we do here. You'll do a lot more with this with Mr. Kelchner upstairs in 8th grade next year for Earth and Space Science. National Geographic I like to use for a lot of our science in culture application studies that kind of take place throughout the entire school year, a lot in our Nature of Science unit here at the beginning of the year. And then Discovery Education is a very broad resource that kind of covers pretty much anything topic-wise in a science class. A quick classroom tour. So I'm going to unshare this presentation. Maybe. Okay, there we go. So I'll kind of give you the point of view. If you were here in person for Meet the Teacher Night, this is the 7th grade hallway. Right across the way we have Mr. Williams' geography class and Mr. Yost's math class. Enter into our science classroom, which is room 129. So in the front, we have my table. Out here, there are 4 student tables. We have a side counter where we like to put a lot of our lab materials. There's usually bins on this side counter here that the students will be getting their lab materials from throughout the class. We're not going to be doing nearly as much of that, unfortunately, this year in terms of handling materials, sharing materials, cleaning materials, so on and so forth. You can see behind me, we have various specimens from a bear to a screech owl, some hawks, some different skulls. On the back, we have a pike, great horned owl, we have a barn owl, a bunch of different specimens here in the cabinets that you can see that I will be pulling out at various points throughout the school year. And along the back of the room here, we have the sink, hand sanitizer, and soap, which are more important now than ever before. And that's basically it. I really do like the setup here in my classroom. It's very conducive for my style of teaching that is interactive, moving around the room a lot, working in small groups, hands-on activities, which, as I stated already in this video, unfortunately, are going to kind of be put to side, at least at the beginning of the school year, given all of our new protocols and whatnot with COVID. So that's the classroom. The last thing that I want to do before I let you go here is share our 7th grade team basics document with you. And we'll send this out. This is actually just our draft. We have some revisions that we are making this year because of the interesting circumstances. But these are the basics. The STARS expectations. Self-control is what the S stands for. Tolerance is the T. Academic integrity is the A, which is incredibly important when we're talking about distance learning or learning virtually from home. Resilience and shine. Your ELA teachers this year in 7th grade, Mrs. Campbell and Miss Bersicki, are going to dive into all of these 5 qualities a lot deeper with you at the beginning of the school year. You're used to the old Tiger teamwork, integrity, greatness, effort, and respect. This is along those same lines. It's just a new initiative that we're going to be rolling out this year, and Mrs. Campbell is kind of taking the lead on that for the entire middle school. The Tiger Claw system. We are going to continue doing this year. It was a big discussion for us the first week here on whether or not we thought physically handing out these Tiger Claws was going to be possible. And since it is just, well, we're going to have stacks of them in our desk, and since it's just going from the teacher's hand to your hand, we're going to be fine to do this system this year. So to support part of our SWIBIS, which is the STARS expectation efforts, we use this reward system, and there's different ways you can earn Tiger Claws. We'll go over this a lot more with you then next week. But if you get a 90 to a 99 on a quiz or a test, you get 2 Tiger Claws. If you get 100 on a quiz or a test, you get 3 Tiger Claws. If you increase your marking period grade from one marking period to the next, you get 5 Tiger Claws per subject. Growth is something we really like to see here in 7th grade. All right, it's not so much how you start for us, it's how you finish. Obviously, we want you to start as best as you possibly can as well. But with that being said, we want to see that growth throughout this year, not only academically in your grades, but also in your character. We want to see you grow as a person throughout this year, become a better person, not just a better student. Demonstrating positive qualities or accomplishments, the amount of Tiger Claws for that can be discerned by the teacher. We're looking for those STARS qualities there. Some different ways you can use your Tiger Claws. The school store, which is going to be put on hold for now. 1 overnight homework extension pass. So let's just say, and I know this isn't going to happen, you forget to do your homework. On Tuesday, you can give 2 Tiger Claws to me, delaying your due date for that homework until Wednesday. So it's essentially buys you 24 more hours to get that homework assignment done. You still have to do it if you want to receive credit. You just get an extra 24 hours. You can only use that one time per marking period per class. The 7th grade team auctions, we do 2 per year, usually at the halfway point and at the end of the year. That, again, is going to be put on a hold like the school store for this year. Obtain a forgotten item from your locker. That'll cost you 2 Tiger Claws. Obtain a pencil from your teacher. That'll cost you 2 Tiger Claws. Obviously, this year with the supply list that we sent out, check your emails. All of you students, I send an email to you with a Word document titled Supply List that has all of the different materials that you will need for this school year listed on it. We did that this year and haven't in years past because we're going to try and minimize as much sharing, exchanging, and handling of materials as we can, at least in the early going of this school year. Technology, your laptops, obviously, make sure they're charged when you come to school. Study Island, MobiMax, IXL, Accelerated Reader, all programs that you should be familiar with by now. The Google Calendar, this is a new one for you here in 7th grade. There's a link to the 7th grade homework calendar on the middle school website. When you go to the middle school page, click on homework, click on 7th grade, it'll drop you right onto our Google Calendar. Please refer to this location for students' homework assignments, and I'll actually show you how to get to that at the end here real quick. Sapphire, you're all familiar with already. New to Sapphire, I'm going to skip down to the school messenger here, is the school messenger application with texting through Sapphire. That's going to kind of replace the Remind app for those of you that are familiar with that. Microsoft Teams, this platform will be utilized as our learning management system this year for all students participating in SoCo Live, and will be there, and will be where they are able to access the class content and materials, and obviously view the live streams of the courses. Active role in education. Educating our students is very important to us, and in order for the educational process to be successful, we need your help. We are requesting that you take an active role in your child's education. This means that you will talk to your child about school, check Sapphire weekly or bi-weekly, and reach out to us if you feel, or if your child is failing or is not doing their work, or if there's really anything at all that you think we can help you with, whether it be academically, socially, anything. Check the homework calendar as needed and establish routines that promote success. All of these things are obviously much more important now than they ever were if we go virtual at any point in time this school year, as you are all well aware. Contacts. Here we are, the 7th grade team, Ms. Bersicki, Mrs. Campbell, Mr. Fegley, Mrs. Konyar, Mr. Roth, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Yost. Some of you may have Mr. Cole as well for math. He's not listed on there. All right, so I want to quickly jump to my screen. And go to the middle school website to show you how to find our team Google Calendar. So here we are at scasd.us, our schools, SCA Middle School, and then over here, the tab that says homework, just click on that. And then there's a link for 7th grade homework. That'll bring you right here to our Google Calendar. You'll see right now for August, so far, it is empty. That is going to change. All right, that's all I have for you for my Meet the Teacher Night video. As I said in the beginning, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything at all, please feel free to reach out at any time from now throughout the entire school year. Take care.